2025 को रूफ गार्डन हॉलिडे इन टोरंटो इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट पर योग और स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में एक खास कार्यक्रम आयोजित किया। इस कार्यक्रम में दुनिया के जाने माने योग विशेषज्ञ डॉक्टर HR नागेंद्र टोरंटो आए और योग विज्ञान में हाल ही की खोजों पर अपनी राय साझा की। डॉक्टर नागेंद्र को स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी के उन शीर्ष 2% वैज्ञानिकों में शामिल किया गया है जो कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री और वैकल्पिक चिकित्सा के क्षेत्र में कार्यरत हैं। उन्होंने अपने करियर की शुरुआत भारत के प्रतिष्ठित इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस से मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग में PhD करके की थी। इसके बाद उन्हें यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ ब्रिटिश कोलंबिया में पोस्ट डॉक्टोरल रिसर्च भी की और नासा में महत्वपूर्ण शोध कार्य भी किए। आज डॉक्टर नागेंद्र एस व्यासा सोसाइटी के अध्यक्ष हैं जो भारत के प्रमुख योग विश्वविद्यालय का संचालन करती है। इसी के साथ उन्होंने MD एंडरसन कैंसर सेंटर यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ टेक्सास के साथ मिलकर भी योग के कैंसर प्रबंधन में लाभकारी प्रभाव पर भी शोध किया है। ये योग और स्वास्थ्य में रुचि रखने वालों के लिए अवसर बहुत ही लाभकारी था, जिसमें उन्होंने अपने ज्ञान को बढ़ाया।
बहुत ही अच्छा है, ये लोगों का इतना देन है, इतना कंट्रीब्यूशंस है, बहुत ही अच्छा है। अभी इनको एक डायरेक्शन होना चाहिए, किस ढंग से भारत जा रहा है उसको इधर कनाडा में लाना है। आजकल के जो चुनौतियां है इसको हमको हल करना चाहिए, जैसा ड्रग कल्चर है और NCDs है, हेल्थ चैलेंजेस है, उसी ढंग से स्ट्रेस इतना बढ़ रहा है। इसको सॉल्व करने के लिए हमारा ज्ञान भंडार को उपयोग करना चाहिए। इसके लिए भारत में जब ज्ञान भंडार हमको पूरा अवेलेबल है, इसको साइंटिफिक ढंग से उसको प्रस्तुत करना, यही हमारा विषय है। इसके लिए उसने बताया ना, इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ योगा का माध्यम से उसको ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचाना है। उसके बाद उसको एजुकेशन सिस्टम में लाना है, हेल्थ सिस्टम में लाना है। उन्होंने सब मिनिस्ट्रीज में इसको लाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये जरूरत है कि योग के माध्यम से हमारा बहुत अच्छा समाज का सृष्टि हो सकता है, प्रेम भाव बढ़ सकता है और साथ में एक वसुधैव कुटुंबकम हो सकता है। ये नहीं करेंगे तो हम आपस में झगड़ा करते रहेंगे और बैटल होता रहेगा, वार ज़्यादा रहेगा। देखिए क्या हो रहा है पूरे विश्व में, इसको बदलना चाहिए। टू ब्रिंग पीस ऑन अर्थ, इसको लाना है, शांति को लाना है, एक बड़ा सुंदर समाज का सृष्टि करना है। यही भारत का विशेष है, इसको लाना है। कनाडा के साथ हम जोड़ के इसको इधर भी करने का हम प्रयास करेंगे।
वाओ, सबसे पहले तो congratulations to Canada India Foundation to bring such a wonderful scientist turned yogi, which we have never heard. Like, you know, this is a complete connecting to the universe. Means आप साइंस से लेकर मतलब इंजीनियरिंग, रिसर्च, फिर पूरा ग्लोबल सिस्टम जो अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं। बिकॉज क्या है कि यूनिवर्स में हमारा जो बॉडी है, पूरा यूनिवर्स उसके अंदर भी है। तो थ्रू योग ही इज अंडरस्टूड इनसाइड एंड थ्रू नॉलेज हिज साइंस he justifies everything, that everything is combined together, you know। तो पूरे ग्लोबल लेवल पे या यूनिवर्सल लेवल पे जो उन्होंने योग की डेफिनेशन दी है, I have never heard anybody talk like that, so which is absolutely amazing and definitely, you know, health is wealth। so सबसे पहले अगर हम अपनी योग से हेल्थ को ही हम ठीक रखें, प्रिवेंशन इज बेटर देन क्योर, कि हम मतलब बीमारी होने से पहले ही ठीक कर लें। तो I mean, I'm really amazed to see his knowledge, his ocean of knowledge, and if we could get just one drop today, that is, if we can take that home, and that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You know, we are privileged to have Dr. Nagendra here in Toronto. It has taken a lot of effort. He is a renowned man in this stream, and for him to visit here and he's spending a lot of time in Canada, that is a privilege for us. And as from the consulate, we are extremely happy that he found time to come here and we've been able to facilitate his visit. Today we had an extensive talk and he went into the philosophy of yoga, the scientific background of yoga, and how it is bound to help the Canadians. He's also, a sort of a central figure in the organization of International Day of Yoga for last 10 years. And to have his presence here to speak with us today and to enlighten people on the science of yoga was really tremendous achievement. Thank you so much.
मैं आपको ये बोलना चाहूँगी कि मैंने एस व्यासा यूनिवर्सिटी में गुरु नागेंद्र जी के यूनिवर्सिटी से 17 साल पहले मैंने अपना मास्टर्स किया है। सो द वे आई नो हिम एंड द वे आई नो एस व्यासा फाउंडेशन, इट वाज लाइक फैमिली टू मी। देखिए, ये नागेंद्र जी जिस चीज़ पे एम्फेसिस कर रहे थे वो थेराप्यूटिक योगा, साइंटिफिक योगा में बहुत ज़्यादा एम्फेसिस कर रहे थे। क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे आपको तो पता ही है कि मेडिकल सिस्टम में ऑलरेडी कितना बोझ है। अगर सबको योगा, स्पेसिफिकली यंग जनरेशन अगर योगा को एज अ प्रिवेंटेटिव वे में करने लगे तो बीमारी बहुत कम होगी, एंड दैट विल बी वेरी वेरी यूजफुल फॉर द यूथ generation.
No, I'm very pleased that this whole event is organized by the Canada India Foundation. Yoga has become worldwide now. Okay, that's something India has exported very well, and people have accepted and adopted it very well. So, and the Professor Nagendra, he is well known in this whole field. He's the ultimate of knowledge, really, if you want to call it. And so it is wonderful to come and listen to him and learn from him as well. I used to be in practice, medical practice, and I used to refer my patient for yoga and meditation both from time to time, where the Western medicine couldn't help them at all. So that's where I'm quite knowledgeable and fond of yoga. I think the young people are quite aware of yoga. As a matter of fact, I've got 2 granddaughters, and both of them know more about yoga than I do, and they practice yoga too. So I think the younger generation is quite attuned with it, and particularly they're all attuned in terms of getting healthy. Okay, and if you are a yoga practitioner, you have a lot of less health problem. There's stress reduction. There's less. Your blood pressure is normal, gets normal. You get better sleep, and overall your spirits are good. And most of the time, what we have in Western medicine, the spiritual aspect of health was neglected. Whereas in India, we believe in holistic medicine.
Yes.
And that's where the importance comes about.
First of all, thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to host Dr. Nagendran at the foundation. I have recognized his lifelong work and his continuous support and his wisdom by the way of yoga and his life, and which is very important in today's era. And we are honored and pleasure to recognize his work. And today it will be a great opportunity to interact with him at a large and at a depth. And we are very blissful to have get an opportunity to have a one-on-one interaction with him.
ये हमारे लिए बहुत ही स्पेशल ओकेजन है और स्पेशल ब्लेसिंग है कि डॉक्टर एच.आर. नागेंद्र जी यहाँ पे टोरंटो में हैं। उनका सानिध्य हमारे को मिला, उनसे बातचीत करने का मौका मिला। वो अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ी अथॉरिटी हैं। आपको पता ही है कि कनाडा इंडिया फाउंडेशन फॉर द लास्ट मैनी ईयर्स हैज़ बीन ऑन द फोर फ्रंट की हाउ योगा, आयुर्वेदा, माइंडफुलनेस हम लोग यहाँ पे प्रमोट करें अपने हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम में एज ए प्रिवेंटिव एंड हेल्थ प्रमोशन टेक्निक, सो दैट एक अच्छी, वेरी प्रोडक्टिव, वेरी क्रिएटिव, वेरी हैप्पियर सोसाइटी को हम बिल्ड कर सकें। तो अपना उनका जो काम है एस व्यासा यूनिवर्सिटी का इंस्टीट्यूट का वेल रिनाउंड है। उन्होंने हंड्रेड्स ऑफ डिफरेंट एविडेंस बेस्ड जो है पेपर पब्लिश किए हैं पबमेड के थ्रू। दे हैव द हाईएस्ट आई थिंक इंडेक्स्ड पब्लिकेशन इन द पबमेड एंड प्योरली थ्रू एविडेंस बेस्ड। एंड उनको जो पूरा काम उन्होंने किया है योगा को फोरफ्रंट में लाने के लिए एंड उसको एक रिकॉग्निशन उस वे में देने के लिए। एंड पर्टिकुलरली ही हिमसेल्फ लाइक यू नो ही इज अ साइंटिस्ट, हैज वर्कड इन नासा, हैज वर्कड विद हार्वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी एंड वर्कड विद many internationally reputable institute, and it's a special blessing for us to have him here, क्योंकि जो कनाडा इंडिया फाउंडेशन का काम योगा, आयुर्वेदा एंड माइंडफुलनेस को प्रमोट करने का है, विद हिज blessing and his support, I think we can do a lot within the Canadian society.
My name is Sunita Vyas. I am the past national convener and member of the Board of Governors at Canada India Foundation. And today it is actually my privilege to introduce and welcome Dr. H.R. Nagendra ji. We are also honored to have his esteemed colleagues here today from S. Vyasa with us today. A warm welcome to all of you.
Community leaders, friends and well-wishers. On behalf of Canada India Foundation, it's my privilege and honored to welcome you all this very special evening. At this outset, let me acknowledge and extend my and of respectful greetings to His Excellency Kapil Singh, Acting Consul General of India in Canada. The eminent Dr. H.R. Nagendra ji. This evening reflects that mission further, highlighting India's timeless gift of yoga to the world. Scaled great heights in the scientific research, but in the 1980s, when India was not that yet global destination as it's today, he chose to return to his motherland. For over 4 decades, he has dedicated his genius to bringing the wisdom of yoga and Ayurveda to a modern audience, to science, research and audience. The West Vyasa University, Dr. Nagendra has transformed yoga into a respected academic discipline and a global movement of wellness. His pioneering work shows that yoga is not about belief, but about evidence, practice and transformation.
Good evening to everyone. Guruji, Namaskar. It is my proud privilege to welcome you to Toronto on behalf of the Indian Consulate in Toronto and everyone who's seated in this room. I don't know if you know, it has taken us 1 year to bring you here. And we have been working.
Couple of trips also to Bangalore.
And we have been working behind the curtain, away from the limelight to get you here. And I don't know if we are doing justice to your time, but we have tried our best. And Ritesh ji and I don't see Rahul ji. I don't know where he is. He's like a good food soldier. He's taken the background seat. So all of us have been working very closely and very tirelessly to get you here. And I think we are honored and privileged to have your presence. And I'm closely monitoring and we're getting feedback on what all meetings you have done, what are the discussions that are happening, and these are going to have long-lasting impact for us and for the bilateral engagement. I was also proud and privileged to have an eminent of your stature and a scientist to come here and tell us about yoga, because that is one of the sort of misunderstandings about yoga that is prevalent. And I will not shy away from accepting, even in this part of the world, that yoga is only about meditation, it's only about spirituality, and it's only about the religion. But I think you are a shining example to show that yoga is science. Yoga is backed by research, and Vyasa is one of the leading authorities in the country. And I'm proud to say in the world to prove that it's a stream of medicine, it's a stream of science, and sooner the world accepts it, the better it is for the world. What I also want to talk about is how do we perceive yoga and how do we make it more inclusive. Of course, there are several strands of yoga we see. Lululemon is very, very famous for introducing one brand of yoga, and it is our strength that we say everything is part of yoga. What they are doing is also yoga. What we are doing is also yoga. What you are doing is also yoga. And that is the strength of our stream. Another factor that sort of brings wealth to the Canadian society that we live in is the spiritual heritage and the strength that we bring to this country. Yoga is a complete, I would say, rejuvenation for body, and it includes spirituality, it includes meditation, it includes all sorts of physical exercise that we are promoting. This society needs it, and as more and more complications begin in allopathic world, I think this is going to bring a much needed intervention in this space. Lastly, I just wanted to use your presence, and I'm sure you'll be speaking much more about yoga than what I understand, but I just wanted to tell you that in the last 7 to 8 days, whatever feedback I've got, I think your presence here has brought much more refined introduction of yoga in this city, and you're traveling to Ottawa, even over there. In the end, I think I just wanted to let you know that Canada India Foundation has been a pioneer in spreading yoga to Canada, and they've been doing it for close to a decade now. And Ritesh ji is past chairs of PTSD over there. every year they come together to do the International Day of Yoga, which is again something that we closely inspired us from India, and we are doing now in more than 120 countries. But in Canada, I think CIF has been the pillar of strength for us. We have done the pioneer work in spreading our heritage to Canada, and as a proud Canadian institution, they have taken this lead forward. So I know Ritesh and everyone will not tell you this, but I thought it's my duty to tell you that CIF has been doing fantastic work in Canada on these things. With this, Guruji, thank you so much for coming here, and thank you so much to CIF for giving me the mic to speak. I'm not a big speaker, but I just wanted to share something from bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so pleased to be able to be here, actually in my hometown, and welcoming Dr. Nagendra and Dr. Manjunath. It was somewhat of a coincidence, learning that they were here, and an honor to be able to come and share with you a little bit about the research that we've been doing together for more than 20 years. I actually started my career right here in Toronto with an NCIC scholarship, National Cancer Institute of Canada Postdoctoral Fellowship, and launched mind-body research at Princess Margaret Hospital as well as the Toronto Hospital. This was almost 30 years ago. It's certainly the #1 cancer center in the United States, and some would argue the world, and the research we do there. I landed there in 1997, and in 2002 we formed the Integrative Medicine Program. And around that time I met the Vyasa group. Yoga was not new to me. My grandmother Vanda Scaravelli was a yoga master starting in her midlife with VKS Iyengar as one of her teachers. She said she had two teachers, one for the mind, which was Krishnamurti, who was a very close personal friend, Iyengar for the body, and Desikachar for the breath, for the pranayama component. And she really developed her own form of yoga. So learning that there was a yoga university, I knew about yoga practice, but an institution that was founded back in the 80s, dedicated to doing scientific research specifically in medicine, was a real treat, and it's been an incredible collaboration. Again, for more than 20 years, we've been working together doing formal clinical trials. When we started our research together in 2004, we published really the first randomized clinical trial of yoga in oncology. This was with patients who had lymphoma. Since then, we've gone on and published many different trials showing that yoga allows patients to go through cancer treatment easier, fewer symptoms, less anxiety, less depression. My research, Montreal has a program, Calgary has a program, Edmonton has a program, Vancouver has a program. You have the Vyasa presence in Vancouver, but Toronto, the largest city in the country, still doesn't offer yoga as part of the standard of care. And why that's actually quite disturbing is that you heard I helped to found the Society for Integrative Oncology, which has been around now for over 20 years. And in collaboration with the American Society of Clinical Oncology, which is the main oncology organization of the world with over 30,000 members, they develop clinical guidelines on the types of treatments that cancer patients should have. So a woman with breast cancer, this would be the standard of care. A patient with prostate cancer, here's the standard of care. They also evaluate supportive care modalities. So in the area of integrative medicine, on the clinical care guidelines for pain, for fatigue, for depression, for anxiety, and soon for sleep and other symptoms, yoga is listed with A-level evidence because there's multiple clinical trials supporting its use for cancer patients. So if cancer centers claim to be practicing evidence-based medicine, they need to offer yoga as part of the standard of care. So one of the challenges is, of course, it costs money, and in the United States, insurance doesn't cover things like yoga, although they're starting to cover practices like nutrition counseling, exercise counseling, etc. However, a practice like yoga should save the hospital system money, and that should be something that the Canadians care about, having a wonderful socialized medical system. So a patient who undergoes a yoga practice throughout their cancer treatment is going to have fewer symptoms. They're going to create less of a burden on the medical system. And as was noted and everyone who's come before me just tonight, yoga is more than just a physical practice. It's actually more than just a spiritual practice and a relaxation practice. It is a more comprehensive approach and way of life. And at MD Anderson, we're actually formally trying to test that. Not just the asana or the pranayama, but yoga as a way of life. Looking at what patients are eating, their sleep quality, their social interactions with people, the larger eightfold path of yoga as outlined by Patanjali. And the evidence is very clear that if you look at those separate components, not only do patients feel better, but they have a higher probability of responding to treatment. Those who eat more of a plant-based diet, exercise on a regular basis, manage their stress. The chemotherapy works better. The patients live much longer. And this is all packaged together, as I've written about, yoga with a capital Y, yoga as that comprehensive approach. So the Indian world has given so much in terms of the scientific study of the body, the mind, the human condition for more than 5,000 years. And now is really the time to be able to start applying it, because the evidence is there and the evidence will only get stronger. I look forward to hearing from some of the medical colleagues in the audience and whatever I can do, being a Torontonian by heart, even though it's not my residence, to foster this in the Toronto medical system. I'm here to help. Thank you.
So, you know what, I went through it and the chemo was so much easier. My husband will tell you for the 6 months that we went through it. And as you can see, I don't do much yoga now. But in that time, yoga and Ayurveda, I think really helped pass those very tough 6 months. So yes, you're right, we do need to have an integrative approach between alternate therapies and regular oncology or anything that's related to cancer, and nobody knows this better than me. So thank you so much, Mr. Cohen. And also on that note, I know CIF the team at CIF has been doing a lot of groundwork of bringing alternative therapies to the hospital, and we are working very closely with UHN. I think they have introduced yoga as part of their program at the hospital.
And then as Swami Vivekananda moved to United States of America, he moved to NASA in US, and he served at the Harvard Harvard University. And also then he moved to the Imperial College in London. Then many people asked him a question that why did you come back and establish Yes Vyasa? NASA to Vyasa is a documentary. So then he said that he thought the best way to move from mechanical engineering is to understand human engineering. So that's where yoga, which not just talks about physical existence of an individual, but also puts together multiple dimensions of our personality. And then this thought of starting with university came. Thanks, Dr. Lorenzo. I mean, he has been a fantastic researcher. We couldn't have asked for any better collaborator in the Western world. And you heard him just now. Whether it is Patanjali Yoga Sutras, 2,500 publications, this one university, one institution has produced in India, which was 15% of world literature on yoga. So, mentioned about bringing Nagendraji to this place for 1 year plus. But to be very honest, we have been working on it for 4 long years. So today it happened after 4 years, and we are very happy to be here amongst all of you. And we are looking forward to this great association with Canada India Foundation, which has already done lots of work in this space, and we are very confident that this dialogue, what Ritesh is going to have with Nagendra is going to open up many of those questions which probably are there in your mind, and you are going to get all the answers in the next couple of minutes. Thank you.
I chair Mr. Ritesh Malik to please bring Dr. Nagendra ji on stage for the fireside chat. Before we begin that, can I request all the CIF Board of Governors to please come up on stage?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming here today. I would also like to acknowledge Shobloy Majumdar, our member of parliament. And Deepak Anand is also here, MPP from Mr. Mountain. So, I don't know, I'm very overwhelmed as everyone, like Kapil Bharji said, we've been working on this for quite some time now. And we are really fortunate, privileged, honored that Dr. Nagendra ji is with us today. The whole world today is kind of looking up to India and Prime Minister Modi for many answers. And here we have somebody to whom Prime Minister Modi looks up to for answers. So Guruji, all of us have heard so much about NASA to Vyasa, right? So could you take us back to that exact moment when you decided to leave behind your NASA career and return to India to do what you have done for the last 40 years? I mean, we would like to understand what was going on in your mind then. I mean, even today, in today's time, it's hard for people to decide or go back to India and fight out whatever is happening in India. But 40 years ago, when, everything was in West, people were looking for West for career, for making their life, and you decided to go back.
Thank you very much. First of all, I congratulate all of you for organizing this beautiful meet and to bring such contributors who have been helping to bring dimensions of India to Canada. And to you, and all the founder members and others who have gathered here. In search of reality, that Dr. Manjunath or Vice Chancellor was mentioning, there was a search that was going on when I was doing my Indian Institute of Science doctoral program. Whether the present way of searching for reality is adequate to really get at the reality. That's the question that used to get discussed in our brainstorm session among our top researchers. And we all found, yes, probably not. So we're trying to scratch the surface, and the real dimension to reality is not up to the mark. Then what's the way out? Then that we got introduction to one of our persons, a great professor, Satyanarayan Shastri. And he was a great professor of Upanishads, Yoga Vasishtha and Sanskrit and others. And he said, here is the way, the Indian knowledge base. And he was so scientific, he was able to attract all of us. And that's how we entered into this thing and our life changed in that. Then study of Sanskrit, study of Upanishads, study of the Vedas, all that in a conventional, traditional way, made me to understand deeper and deeper dimensions. But what Shastriji always emphasized is on practice, practice, practice. Any amount of theory you may have, but important thing you have to experience that. And the Upanishad is that Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. It is Shrotriyatva is philosophy, understanding, observership and others. But experiencing that is the key asset. Therefore, my practice started growing more and more, and by the time I left India and came over to British Columbia and later on traveled here, I was very clear that I am going to follow this path continuously. And I wanted to see how best the science is moving, whether it's in British Columbia or in NASA or in Harvard and Imperial College, all that, Then I was clear, yes, this is where we are going here, and we have to go in this direction further. Give the direction which our ancient masters had tracked thousands of years back to the present scientific dimension that we have. This is how I moved into this dimension.
This is inspiring for everybody. We all are there and we every day try and find ways in our own way how we can actually contribute positively to our chosen homeland, Canada, and our motherland, India. And 40 years ago, you had that courage to go back and do whatever you've done. It's very, very inspirational for all of us. And also, I read about you that besides, work you did in the US, you also had a brief stint in University of British Columbia in Canada. So, what was your experience then in Canada, and after coming to Canada after so many years now, do you see any difference in Canada then and Canada now?
When I came to British Columbia, I landed at 10 o'clock in the night, and by the time I reached the university, it was 11:30 in the night. It was a bright sun. People were all playing badminton, whatnot. And I said, what, 11:30, such bright light? And even at 12:30, already sun started evening, and morning by 3:30 already the sun was up. And this was amazing experience I had in the beginning. Then I worked on a greenhouse, how to bring heat transfer to gain the dimensions in the greenhouse. Then I was also working on turbulence and bringing the heat transfer dimension, and that was one of the best research that I did there, which got published in Journal Fluid Mechanics. That was one of the topmost journals we had. And that was my experience at that time. And now after I come here, it is technological excellence that has come up, and AI is coming up so nicely, and I see a tremendous change. So what was there in 71 and what is today is an amazing change that has taken place, a manifestation of science and technology. As it has happened in many places, in the United States, also in India it has happened. And the important dimension is to see how India can contribute further to the development of Canada in the new direction that is needed to meet the challenges that we have faced. Along with the growth, we also have been facing many challenges. These challenges have come up much higher than what it was at that time. At that time, we didn't have probably big drug culture or drug addiction, and big NCDs had not come up at that time. And now it has all started jumping up in a very big way, exploding themselves, and we have to meet those challenges. That's where this can work in.
I'm not sure, Guruji, if it's coincidence or some astrological prediction you follow. Swami Vivekananda came to Canada with a mission, and US, North America, you come with a mission. Last time you said you landed at 10:30, 11. I think yesterday also you landed at the same time. So I think that's a good sign that something good is going to come out of this trip and your further trips to Canada.
I was shown where Swamiji came in Vancouver, in one of the places where we went there, and I was so happy to see that he had come to Vancouver, and after 100 years I had also come there that time.
And I know that you're also visiting Vivekananda Cottage this time on this trip.
Yes.
So that should be exciting and really,
It's always a thrilling experience.
Fantastic. So, Guruji, let's move to what you love most. You've spent decades building a bridge between yoga and modern science. How do you see the two complementing one another rather than existing in conflict?
Yoga gives a broad vision of the reality. Science has been in search for reality, and we have done remarkable growth in understanding the world around us, the physical world. And over 400 years, Newton and Descartes, who started the ball rolling, developed scientific methodology to understand this entire universe. And all the best of people all over the world followed this thing, and using the scientific research, scientific methodology, forming a hypothesis, then forming a design and conducting the experiment, repeated experiments, multi-centric trials, and coming to an inference. That has been the methodology. And I found a similar thing was there thousands and thousands of years back in yoga. It's called Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, and Jnana. Shravana is from the hypothesis hearing. And then we have the Manana, designing the experiment and firing and everything there. And Nididhyasana is conducting the experiment. And when you repeat that, then it will do. And people used to have very rigorous examinations of this thing. Huge conferences used to be there, thousands of people will be there, they'll be questioning the design and the hypothesis and everything, and only when all people get accepted, then it is to be accepted and will go into the textbook or the Veda. That was the condition. Same thing we are feeling today in our journals, dimensions. So there was a similarity. Then our ancient masters had tracked the whole universe, not only the physical. Initially they also started with physical understanding that everything is made of energy and others, but later on we started understanding there are deeper dimensions of prana, the mind, the emotions, intellect and consciousness, all that they were able to track. And this all has been recorded and well established and given in our textbooks. They are called as the Vedas. Coming from our Vedic knowledge, Veda means the encyclopedia of knowledge. And just like today, we do a lot of experiment and we bring about anatomy textbook, Gray's Anatomy. It became a textbook, everybody will follow. Similarly, our ancient masters did a lot of research, brought out these things and poured out in the form of textbook. They are called the Agama. And they are put there. It's all are available in our Upanishads. That's the knowledge base that is available. When I start going, understanding this and this, I put it a tremendous ocean of knowledge. Over 50 years, whatever I have understood, whatever I have practiced, is hardly 0.01% of whatever ancient masters have given. Just like science has such a tremendous amount of knowledge. Anybody who has done their best thing, they hardly understand 0.001% of what knowledge is there. Such is the ocean of knowledge that yoga has. And that has to be brought forth to modern science, to see that we expand the vision of science from just material world to things which are much beyond the subtler and the causal dimensions of this universe. That's the one that attracted me more and more into the field of yoga, and our entire university has started tracking this dimension.
Guruji, this afternoon when we were having a discussion in the office, you talked about instead of alternate medicine, we should talk more about integrative medicine. Like for everybody's knowledge, and information, if you could share a little bit of your insights, what exactly do you mean by that, and what does it mean for integration of modern medicine and yoga?
The knowledge base of our ancient masters found, if it is only in the Vedas, has no relevance to the modern time. I don't think it's of much use for us. Therefore, always I've been thinking how this knowledge base can be brought to meet the present challenges of our society. Present challenges like, as I said, the drug addiction and then NCDs and stress, which has become such a mounting challenge that we have. Can that total knowledge base be a solution? Can we bring that knowledge base to deal with this dimension? That has been mindset. Application is very important. You may have the knowledge, but whether it is relevant to modern times. If it is not relevant to modern times, there is no use. Therefore, this is what we started working on, and we started exploring. Okay, can yoga be helpful for dealing with this modern challenges? Bangalore was full of bronchial asthma, and people used to suffer, and people got incurable, nothing can be done about it, and allopathy was not giving the real solution. Therefore, we started working on that. Dr. Nagaratna had come from England after MD, MRCP and all these things. He's an expert in cardiology and also respiratory disorders, and we started working on that. I started using that knowledge and the practical things that our ancient masters had developed to see whether they can be the solution. We started doing some pilot studies and started conducting the camps, and people got wonderful results. People who were having bronchial constriction and bronchial attack, they were able to release them using the special technique that we had developed. And we started doing a lot of study and went into RCT trials, randomized controlled trials, and brought continuous follow-up. For 4.5 years, we did the follow-up, and we found 90% of the people were always completely normalized. They were taking medicine, they were able to slowly taper off the medicine and others, and we wrote that paper and then submitted. And all of you know it was a big history as to how the British Medical Journal did not accept it at the beginning at all, and we had to convince them. It took almost 1.5 years after continuous interaction. At that time we didn't have email, we didn't have this thing, it's all postage and that. And it got published in 1985. And that gave us the confidence to see that our ancient knowledge base can be very, very useful in meeting the challenges of the health scenario. So it need not be an alternate thing, it has to be added on. We should not lose all the advantages that modern medical system has given. We have had it. So we had started that the complement to this thing as an add-on to this dimension. And this is what we started doing with our Lorenzo in cancer also, and see that we bring this dimension to that. That is the main dimension. Therefore, we believe over the last 40 years, what we have done, published nearly 1,000 and odd papers, where we have been able to show that it can be a very effective complement to the existing medical system, and that's how we have to bring this thing. That's how the integration is very important, and it's not an alternate, but it's a complement to the existing knowledge base that combining the West with the West of the East. That's what Swami Vivekananda wanted.
Thank you, Guruji. So what we understand, evidence is very important, and Vyasa, S. Vyasa have championed that to create that evidence for modern medicine in the world. And S. Vyasa is fortunate, as you said, to have somebody like Dr. Lorenzo to be partner in that for the last 20 years. Do you see any challenges? Because when we talk to medical fraternity, there are people in this room also believe in yoga and all these integrated approaches for medicine. So do you have any suggestion for people like that? Because unless and until they get support within their hospital systems or whatnot, how can this mission grow? I mean, we all know that is the only solution eventually for humankind or for their health and happiness. But for that, we need a larger pool of people wanting to do it, and there are people, but how do they actually, I should not say that, maybe fight the system, which probably does not want people to be healthy. I mean, if I may say that, it might be controversial, I don't know, but I'm just saying that, how do we make sure that, whatever work is needed in terms of evidence continues, and also demanded by health professionals from their organizations or wherever they work.
It's very important that in our era of science and technology, we have to bring evidence, and we have very rigorous ways of establishing the truth. Randomized controlled trials, double-blind studies, and so on. Even that is not adequate in a sense because when we match the groups, we do not take into consideration the personality dimension. In Ayurveda and in Yoga, we have personality of each. In the matching of two groups, we may take up the age, the severity of the disease, and particular disease and other things. But we don't take into consideration the personality trait, Tamos, Rajas and Sattva, or Vata, Pitta, Kapha. When we have all these things, it's going to be added new dimension to double-blind studies. We have to do that. So that is one more added dimension which we have to do in modern scientific research, which is inadequate in its totality. What is happening therefore? To develop a particular medicine, and in pharma, they spend $1 billion, and we take 10 years, and then it comes into operation, and you use it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, then it is going to be barred, the whole thing. Therefore, why this has happened, we have been thinking. Because our reverse of this scientific research is not adequate enough. This is where India has a clear dimension of doing dimension which has to be followed on one front. The more important thing is that we have to prevent diseases rather than dealing with become sick and doing that. We say prevention is better than cure. But how much do we really mean? If you take the health budget of any country, how much we spend? Hardly 1% or 2%. Therefore, I have been pleading over the last 12 years in Planning Commission and Niti Aayog that we should put more money for prevention. Otherwise, the escalating cost is going to blow. Fortunately, we all had discussed. Finally, it was agreed that we should have about 10% of the budget to be put forth. Thanks to Dr. Harshvardhan was the minister. We brought 1.5 lakh wellness centers in the country in which prevention will be emphasized. So what we need today is a healthcare delivery system which is very effective with least side effects and evidence-based, and it should have long-term things and cost-effective. That's what we want today. That should be our goal. For that, prevention is very important. Therefore, this is how we all have to work together to build our dimension. This is what yoga and non-pharmacological Ayurveda lifestyle can bring about the necessary changes. And that is the way that's forward that we are moving in India and to bring that. Therefore, we set up an advanced center for integrative medical research in AIIMS, Delhi, about 12 years back, where the medical experts were not believing. But Dr. Gautam Sharma said, okay, let me try in cardiology department. And one by one, today, after 10 years, all the 24 departments in AIIMS, Delhi have been doing research and using the yoga dimension as an adjunct to deal with these things. It's very effective thing that's happening. And this is how we have to move forward. And see, in India, we are doing that thing. And similarly, I'm sure that in MD Anderson Cancer Center also, they have started using yoga. And I was told that many more projects have started coming up. And he has been a pioneer. He is a great propeller of doing these things. And Ronaldo has been pushing that to bring this dimension of yoga as an effective adjunct for prevention and promotion of positive health. Therefore, in our 600-bed facility, we call it Arogya now. We don't call it a hospital. Even normal people should come there and prevent disease, promote positive health. There are a complete department for that, PPH, promotion of positive health. This is the way that we have to go forward to bring it integration. But we have to go a long way before we bring this integrative medicine, because we have to have a lot of evidence and a lot of research papers we have to do on all fronts. And this is the one that's happening in India. We want to bring this to this part of the world also, and with your tremendous cooperation, we should be able to do this thing to meet the modern challenges of mental health. It has become such a big challenge, and we have the biggest mental hospital here in Canada. In India also we have Nimban. We have started working in this dimension.
Guruji, I think we should use this opportunity today to get some insights into what normally is not possible for us. So, and I think everybody in the room would love to hear a few things on that. I will switch a little bit from policy and clinical trials and evidence. Let's come to Prime Minister Modi. So, I think the first question I think I want to know from you is, when was the first time actually I'm sure he was not even Prime Minister when he actually first time met you or approached you for the yoga. So can you recall your first meeting with him and what was your first discussion about yoga with him? And at that time also, did you feel that he had that inclination towards yoga and traditional medicine systems like we have today?
In 1983, that he had come to our Prashantipatiram campus, and at that time we used to have my uncle Sheshadriji, and he was a sort of leader in Sangha. So many people used to come. He was a Pracharak also at the time in RSS, as many people know. He had come there, and we had interaction. And he is also a great devotee of Swami Vivekananda, and I was also Swamiji as my role model. And he has given all the knowledge in the very scientific way, and he has solution for many of the challenges, most of the challenges India is facing and the world is facing. Therefore, we had a lot of interactions at that time, and because both of us tuned together, then he saw that we are following the best of the West to be combined with the best of the East, which Swami Vivekananda has given. Therefore, we have been developing research and how things have started moving and how research we have taken up, how Brahma, what we are doing with Dr. Nagaratna. He was also becoming very close to us. Since then, our relations started. And then when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, then he used to call us, and Dr. Nagaratna, myself, Manjunath, all of us used to go there and then treat and teach not only himself but all his members of the party, and the ministers have been there. And normally used to have Chintan Shibir once in a year for about 2 to 3 days. At that time, we used to go there and do that. That way our relations continue. And one thing that's fantastic in him is he is a role model. Now he has such tremendous memory. It's unbelievable. And he is so sharp and understands the whole dimensions and very, very creative. And he gave a new dimension to yoga. Yoga comes from the word yujyate anena iti yoga. It is a join. In conventional things, the jivatma to merge with the paramatma, the individual soul merging with the totality, is the normal thing that's done. But he gave a new dimension. Added to that, he said it should to join all the countries together to form one big world family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. He gives a new dimension. And his energy and how he is practicing. A lot of people, when I say that you have to practice yoga regularly, half an hour, 1 hour, half an hour, 1 hour. When do I have time? I'm very busy, I can't do that. And I will say, are you more busy than our Prime Minister, who spent 1 to 1.5 hours in the morning? So this is the thing that he has been doing, and I request all of you to spend time to maintain your health. You spend a lot of time for earning the things and the wealth, but health is more important. To maintain the health, we have to spend some time, some energy for these things. So my appeal, request to all of you is spend at least half an hour, if not 1 hour, every day. And simple techniques are there. The thing is that you can just lie down in Shavasana. And Shavasana will bring wonderful relaxation, can work wonders. Start off with something. Simple breathing technique. You can do slowly breathing and special breathing practice like pranayama. And that's how we have to start off the journey. And that's very, very important, so that we'll all spend time, invest some time for developing our health. And that is the goal that PM has done, and what a tremendous push he has given International Day of Yoga. And he is asking every minister to practice yoga. And he has been bringing every year International Day of Yoga is being spread to more and more people. Last year in India it was 25 crores of people should practice. And this is how he has been able to put things. And that, therefore, I offer my pranams to him for making this possible.
Is it true that he works 19 hours and sleeps only 5 hours a day? And he hasn't fallen sick for the last 20-25 years, not taken even a single day off.
Wonderfully, I have been doing that every day morning. He practices regularly, normally from 6 o'clock to 7:30 and practicing this thing. Wherever he is in Delhi, he does with sport also. And when he goes out on various travel, he knows how to use that. Converting action into a yoga is called karma yoga. Yoga is not just doing some asana, pranayama, mudra, tandas, kriya, but it's a way of life. For it is science of holistic living. If you people have not heard his talk, which he gave in for International Day of Yoga, I request that you can send that video to all the people and they should all hear the wonderful way that he brought out the whole vision of yoga dimension. Such a vast dimension that he was able to bring. And that has to be brought forth into action to meet the challenges.
We all look up to him, not just because we come from India. There are plenty of people all over the world. I mean, no matter which background they are from. I mean, I've spoken to, I travel on business all the time, and I speak to people in Africa, people in Singapore, Asia, wherever I go, and everybody looks up to him. And, you know, they want a leader like him in their country. So we all are fortunate that he's leading India at the moment. And it makes us proud. I mean, being Indo-Canadians, I mean, we are Canadians, but at the same time, you know, we are very proud of our roots, and it really makes us very, very happy that, you know, India is in good hands, and whatever work is doing for India and the world in general. I mean, that's tremendous, and that's fantastic. We also have a couple of, you know, policy makers and elected representatives here, you know, from Canada. From your perspective, what role do you think governments and policy makers can play in making you know, preventive things like yoga and Ayurveda integral part of public health care system?
Again, our Prime Minister said that yoga is not one-day practice for the International Day of Yoga. We developed suitable protocols, bringing all the yoga masters together to see what best should be possible. It should be very simple, everybody should be able to practice, and that's how we developed a protocol of 35 minutes. That is what they, but he said no, it has to go into the education system itself. Therefore, he asked us that we go ahead and prepare the syllabus for the school. And we started working on that with NCRT, to an NCT before the preschool thing, and we brought all the yoga masters and others. What type of yoga we give? Many people said, okay, we start yoga asana, pranayama or mudrasana. But again, getting the direction of Swami Vivekananda. He said, education is a manifestation of perfection already in man. He said, we want total personality development, physical, mental, emotional, intellectual level, fourfold development of personality. Not only that, we should have fourfold consciousness, civic sense, service sense, national awareness, and spiritual depth. These are the dimensions which we have to bring into education system, and this has to be done. How it has to be done? We all sat together, experts, and brought out the syllabus for that thing. What did we do? To make it very attractive. The children should love to do that thing, just like a Montessori education. So we developed such things using various dimensions of the asana, pranayama, and krida yoga. That is yoga game, yoga song, and all these things we got out, and we developed the program for dimension. What is to be done on class 1, class 2, class 3? Our expert educationalists and psychiatrists, psychiatrists, everybody came. What are the challenges that we face? Based on that, we developed this program. Class 1, eyesight improvement, short sight, long sight, astigmatism, squeeze, everything can be normalized. Then we have voice culture, hearing development, memory development, physical stamina development, memory development, IQ development, creativity development, stress management, ego management, all that we developed, 10 development suite. That is a dimension that we did, and it has been brought into NCRT and others almost 15-20 years back. We made it compulsory, but in India, it's all state subject. And some states started using that, some states did not do. They said, okay, we want to do, where are the teachers? So we developed the teachers training program. Over the 25 years, we developed nearly 1.5 lakh teachers to bring this dimension. Teacher training programs we developed, and it started spreading. And now also it is growing. Then he said, no, you have to bring it to higher education system. So again, we all sat together, all the yoga masters and experts, and developed the syllabus for the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, and doctoral program. How we have to bring this yoga dimension. It is not only the practice. Every subject should be added on with the dimension of yoga. How to combine the knowledge base of the West along with the East was also put forth. For example, we teach anatomy level, in which we talk everything about the physical body, the organ system and everything, and doing that. But there we end. But then we say that beyond this, then we have a pranic body, that pranamaya kosha. So what is it made out of? The nadis, and what is the prana dimension there? Then the manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha, all that we developed. So we have developed a totally new syllabus, curriculum. We took 4 years. We had the top experts joined together. We developed in 1990s and started bringing this dimension of the wholesome dimension of this thing. And now we are further developing into all dimensions. Every subject should be added on. So we must have the best of the Western system that we have. Along with that, we must bring the Indian knowledge base to add on dimension. We have such tremendous knowledge base available. We have Kannada thing, we have got the Chanakya thing, everything in every field. That all has to be brought to be added on as a complement to make it more holistic. It is not an alternate. That we will not leave these things and come only to this thing. That's what many people do. No. We have to complement. We have to add on. That's what we have done in the health scenario. Similarly, education system, we are bringing this thing which has to meet the challenges. Why we have to bring this thing? We have to meet the challenges. Can we prevent the burnout among the management and the computer people? Can we prevent special skills? Can we develop all these things that we have done? And we are continue. It will continue to grow more and more. That's the dimension that we have been able to do. Therefore, in the field of education, it has to be brought. In the field of health, we have to build this thing. And in the corporate sector, the stress management dimensions we have to bring. Therefore, in our university, we have 5 divisions. Division of yoga, spirituality, which will bring more and more knowledge-based secrets that have been there. Huge ocean of secrets available that are brought forth by literary research. Then we have got division of yoga, life sciences, physical sciences, management studies, and humanities. Into all fields of great masters have done tremendous amount of research which has to be brought forth. Unfortunately, what happened is that we all went into this dimensions of science and technology and we forgot to read anything. I had not heard the word Upanishad until 1965-66. That was the condition. Therefore, we had to bring this knowledge base right from beginning and we had to do the research. Then only it will be brought. This is what is happening in India. We are bringing this to various dimensions at the graduate level, postgraduate level, and doctoral level. Everywhere we have to do. We have to do a lot of research. Fortunately, we have 250 people doing their doctorate. We have 5,000 people doing their master's degree. Everybody has to do this research. Literary research one side and application research on the other side. In the field of life sciences, management studies, and also humanities. That is dance, drama, sports. Everywhere we have to bring. And whatever we do that, we have to bring it to the forefront. We have every alternate year international conference called Infopira. International conference and frontiers in yoga research. Our lot of experts are coming, sharing their experiences. So what is happening? That's what happens in the medical conference, in other conferences. We are doing this in the yoga field of one frontier area that we are doing. This year we have in December 18 to 21st. So it's on rehabilitation. Yoga as rehabilitation meditation. That's why we are moving in this direction to bring everything to expose to the people at large.
Thank you, Guruji. I think this could be a great gift from Indian community to their chosen homeland, Canada, who we love so much. And I think everybody in this room is very, very passionate about this mission. And it only strengthens us with you being with us, you being here, and you promising that you're going to come very frequently here. I think it will only help, and we are looking forward to all the support we can get from SVYASA to take this into school system, to take this to corporates and help them with their mental health challenges or whatever. Canada is a great country. We love Canada, and we would love to see this work and help Canada in every possible way. I think there are a lot of people, Guruji, who might want to ask few questions. Maybe we should give 5-10 minutes to them. I can go on and on. I have so many questions.
In the material world, we found that this entire physical world is made out of molecules. Molecules made of atoms. Atoms made of protons, neutrons, electrons, fundamental particles. That's where we stopped for a long time. Then we found that energy is from the base. One of these electrons from the packets of energy called quark. So much less about the mind and the emotions and the intellect and consciousness.
We are following that path as one of the education. How about yoga and how far we are integrate that in the international education level where we can direct our kids along with the mother side. Can you give us insight on that? How we should look forward to that? Which direction we should look at?
New avenues, but there is a pattern we have seen over the century. For example, when we push for something good, there is a resistance in the Western world. And then when it is taken, it's taken in the bits and pieces. For example, what we knew about yoga, for example, in the last generation, when you talk about somebody as a yogi, you would picture either Swami Vivekananda or some sadhu or somebody with the higher qualities. Today, the definition of that in North America is not the same, unfortunately. Talk about a yogi, and 99% of the people will imagine a white woman wearing a Lululemon, benefiting out of it. And I don't say it for out of disrespect for anybody, but this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. While 7 limbs of yoga are cut from it, it's only asana. And these teachers go to India, benefit from our knowledge, come back. But the delineation we see here, for example, right now in North America, anti-India hate and Hindu phobia is all-time high. People's lives are getting affected, and neo-Nazi forces are rising up. In so much of the hate, out of this billion-dollar industry, we don't hear one yoga studio owner or somebody who's quote-unquote yogi in North America speaking about Hindus or raising concerns about this anti-India hate rising. So while we practice renunciation and keep servicing and giving up, we also see that we kept getting slack while we kept our resources, our knowledge systems kept getting appropriated. And now, next, as you're talking about Ayurveda, that appropriation of Ayurveda in the small towns of Canada also have started already. I have seen Ayurveda clinics pop up where
This question is after this answer.
So this is the question. The question is, are we happy with this one-way street of giving up while developing a way, a creative way? When we develop our system and give to the world with authoritatively, that if you practice it in a way, this is our system. Because Yoga Journal is already now putting out their own structures how to practice it, while we are happy saying that West is taking up yoga.
If you can one-size your question in one sentence.
So what is the answer to this challenge?
Therefore, how we have to bring this more effectively, is the direction. Therefore, I've been talking to a lot of journalists and other people who come and interact with me, that you play a very vital role today in the country to bring this transformation. And this knowledge base has to be brought forth and see that all the positive things that are happening to be brought to the forefront, instead of giving only the negative things in this dimension. So, unfortunately, in many of the print media and others, what we see is the negativity will start coming more than the positive things. So, instead of that, we have to make a change. That is what our PM has been doing. So, the entire team has been continuously working on giving positive things. Mann Ki Baat, takes up the new things and started bringing all the wonderful things that are happening. What's happening in the children front, what is happening in the women, how the things are happening in army, how it is coming in Air Force, everywhere, how he brings out all positivities that are coming up. This is how the Daivi Sampad is going to come out. Divinity is going to manifest. If on the other hand, if you harness some the negativity, this is not there, this is not there, this is not there, everything. In any society there are both things are there, negative and the positive. There is the strength and the weakness. But what should you do with the SWOT analysis? Strength should be developed, weakness should be reduced, and we used to use the opportunities and threats we have to meet. That's how we have to work on that thing. This, when we do that, then we'll be able to bring this to the forefront. Point is why the entire thing came down when we have such wonderful knowledge base that we had in ancient times. Why it has gone down? Krishna has it. Sapalene Mahata, Yoga Parantapa. It says, with time, as the time process, slowly there's going to be deterioration. Again, it has to be brought forth. And that is the whole process that goes on in the world. It's a wave. It's not that continuously goes like this thing. You know, it comes up and then goes down. When it comes down again, it has to come up. It's a wave. That's the dimension that's very important. So time has come now, it has gone down and we have to bring it up. The knowledge base of our ancient masters had gone down, we had left it, and we went only the science and technology and other things of the material dimensions. And the time has to come, we have to come back. At third Kama, we started focusing, and then other dimensions of Dharma and Moksha, we left the part. Therefore, what is happening, wealth has become the primary economic superpower, and then defense power has become the uttermost attention. But what about health? Now, therefore, we are thinking as wealth is necessary, but health also is equally necessary. Health is wealth, it started. And then once you start growing, it is not only health. You may have health, you may have wealth, but if the happiness is not there, if bliss is not there, if peace is not there, what is the use? You must bring. So we have to go like this. This is what our ancient masters have unraveled. This has to be brought back again to the society. That is through the education system, health system, to various ways by which we have to work on this. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your experience of having been a product both of the West and of the East. Thank you as well for bridging ancient wisdom of the East with practical marvels of Western technology. But if you look at much of what technology is being driven by in the West today, it's, I think, people coming from Eastern teachings. In that vein, I have a question for you, which requires a little bit of context. We're facing a major disruption in the world today of great power competition that get in the way of peace building between nations. We're facing a major disruption in the world today of populism, often characterized by condescension on the left and anger to the right, much like what you described, the negativity that we have to find a way to push through. And we're dealing with a major disruption of technology, where there is a great promise of what it can accomplish and the ways in which it is abused, creating alternative realities and control over people. In the best way you might be able to, what is your advice to leaders today in overcoming these major barriers that are leading to chaos and disarray? Thank you very much for being here.